up somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, we will keep moving on, and we are not going to stop. In the event you are pondering what's gone wrong with Straight Talk tonight, Straight Talk is here, ready like Freddy. And time for me to bid you a very pleasant night, my Straight Talk family, wherever you are, in St. Kitts and Nevis, and throughout the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian and the Vision diaspora, I say greetings to all those who are in tune, who are logged on Ian Patches Liburd social media, Facebook and YouTube. But welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. We are starting a little late due to circumstances beyond my control. So here's what. I'm not going to tarry too long with the introduction, but just to keep you abreast with the COVID-19 situation in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the latest report I do have, report number 775, tells me that there are 11 confirmed cases as of 6 p.m. today, Thursday, the 19th of May, and still have the existence of COVID within the Federation, and we just have to keep ourselves protected and do not in any way let your guard down. Remember, we still have the non-pharmaceutical tools at our disposal, our masks, our sanitary hand wipes, and of course our social distancing where necessary. I know that we all feel that we are safe, but we're not safe if all of us are not safe. I'm happy though. I'm looking at the vaccination roll up and roll out, and our first doses are now at 83.3%, to be exact, and our second doses are at 78.3%, and that's looking well for our vaccination status, so to speak, my Straight Talk family. But I want to, without much hesitation, because there are quite a lot of things that are going on as I speak, and I want to ensure that we go straight into our discussion tonight. And when I introduce the topic on Monday, the topic not fit for purpose, in fact, I attempted to reflect on the 5 years of my own experience in the cabinet of the Team Unity administration, the first Team Unity government. So I know when I speak from a position of authority. And my Straight Talk family, with respect to the last 22 months, though, of the Team Unity administration, I did my research and analysis from the outside of the cabinet. I must state that clearly. And you would recognize that I always bring you the supporting evidence. In everything I do, I try to, and at all times, I do bring you the supporting evidence. My research and analysis have brought me to the conclusion, I must say, that this grand experiment in 2020 with Sean Richards, Mark Brantley, Lindsey Grant, Jonel Powell, Alexis Jeffers, beg your pardon, and Eric Evelyn, has failed in its goal of providing effective protection against the abuse of power and the misuse of the people's money. And I'm sure you will agree that, and someone said this to me today, but now those 6 guys have gone, now the gang of 6 have gone, to be specific to what they said things are so quiet, the government is running so well. And yes, there is a government at present, and things are doing well. We've had a 10% increase. We've had those on the general auxiliary workers, as they're called, have been now become permanent on or pensionable, I should say, but they are now on the pensionable establishment, and the government is functioning. Now, let us examine all the candidates from the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement in particular, who have brought us to this moment in time and have forced an election 3 years in advance because constitutionally we know that elections are due, or were due, I should say, in 2025. And they have forced us in an election 3 years before it is constitutionally due. And we ask the question, are they fit? Are they good enough to lead this federation? For what these 6 politicians have done, for what the Gang of 6 have done, the question has derived whether they are fit to serve or lead this federation. Now, when we elected these men, when we elected them, the purpose was, or the main objective was, the aim or objective of the people, I should say, in this country was intended to achieve a better standard of living, peace, stability, and security, and all the things that would bring progress for all through economic growth in St. Kitts and Nevis. We voted, we believe, back then for a government with men and women that were fit for purpose. Plainly put, we voted for candidates that we thought were good enough to do the job that they were elected to do. As voters, we must think like consumers, and consumer protection law protects us as buyers and provides a guarantee that an item is fit for purpose. But if it is not, then we are entitled to a refund or replacement. Think about it. If you go to Rams or Best Buy or some supermarket, some business, some shop, and you pick up a bread and you find that bread is moldy, what do? You return the bread. And you either get a replacement or you get a refund of your money. The point is, just like a consumer item, the government we elect must meet our expectations. Elected representatives must meet the required standards. They must be of sufficient quality and be good enough representatives of the people. And I'm not afraid to say that the Gang of 6 are not fit for purpose. And I've come to that conclusion after careful study, careful analysis of their performance. You see what they are doing now. They have destabilized the country, and all they are thinking about is power and money. And that cannot be good for the country. Look how calm and peaceful the country is without them. Isn't the country calm and peaceful without this Gang of 6? And I sometimes ponder, and I'm cautious to say this, there ought to have been a way to just keep them out of the government for the next 3 years and finish the term. But don't take me serious, my Straight Talk family. But Mark Brantley, I have come to the conclusion, is not fit for premier. He has never balanced the NIA budget. How can he balance the federal budget? As a matter of fact, his own people from Nevis has said this about Mark Brantley. He has said this about Mark Brantley, and I ask you to consider these for yourself.
The Premier of Nevis is a failure. That he's from Hanley's Road, and Hanley's Road did not produce any kulumono. And then he moved into Brownhill, and Brownhill didn't have any kunamono. Listen, Hanley's Road produced one kunamono, and that is Mark Brantley. There is one kunamono that lives in who lived in Brownhill and moved out of Brownhill. It has to be Mark Brantley. He is making noise about fair share for Nevis. He is bragging and beating his chest that 80% or some high percentage of what was written in the Charleston Accord was of his making. You sit down with Timothy Harris, draft up an agreement, you said, for fair share for Nevis. You got up from the table and then sat at the next table and said to the man, listen, give me $30 million. You throw fair share out through the door. He gave you $30 million. You turn around and you sit again with him and say, after arguing about fair share, I'm not getting enough. Give me $45 million. He gave you $45 million. Then you get up from the table and start to argue again. He did not give me enough. Give me $66 million. He gave you $66 million. And then you get up from the table and start to argue that he not give you enough. You have to be a kunamono.
My Straight Dog family, that's the view of someone from Nevis. You may agree or disagree. But the former Deputy Prime Minister, Michael Oliver Powell, aptly described Mark Brantley. And this is what Michael Oliver Powell had to say about Mark Brantley. Here's what he said, my Straight Talk family.
When Mark Brantley came on one of us, well, if you are, and he had his phone in his hand, and he said, if you are looking at me, you would notice I have my phone, and the reason why I have my phone is because we have given the Prime Minister a deadline up to midnight. I said, oh my father. I said, look at that educated idiot. Where he get the authority from to talk about he gave Prime Minister a deadline? My beloved brethren, educated idiot. As a lawyer, he must know the Constitution doesn't give him or anybody else any authority to give the Prime Minister any deadline. He must know that.
An educated idiot. But my Straight Talk family, when you really examine the performance of the Gang of Six, and I heard something from one of them, and I really don't give them much time on Straight Talk, but I thought I would raise this because it's worth raising to really demonstrate and point out the disingenuity of these people who want to serve us in politics or in government in particular. Here's what he said.
We will not stop until the business of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is done. We're talking about true unity. We're talking about keeping the promises that we made to you when you voted for us just under 2 years ago. We are committed to fulfilling every single one of those projects, those policies, those plans that we put forward to you and that you voted for. We promise the people fixed-term elections, and the people will get fixed-term elections. We promise people integrity in public life legislation that actually works, and the people will get that from us. We promise the people term limits for the office of the Prime Minister, and you will get that to ensure that never again we get in this country a Prime Minister who thinks he is the end-all, the be-all. A man who thinks he might be 10 man in one or that he holding some kind of O. As far as I know, they ain't got no O in Prime Minister.
You know, my Straight Dog family, when you really examine these dishonest politicians closely, now there are 9 or there were 9 members on the government benches, which means they had more than a 2/3 majority to amend the Constitution. So if they really wanted term limits, don't you believe they would have gone into Parliament and passed that legislation? If they really wanted integrity in public life, legislation, or legislation is there, but if they wanted to operationalize that piece of legislation, wouldn't they have done it? So why did they have to break up a government, then try to get back into a government to implement all these things they could have done? And this is the question you have to ask yourselves, whether they wanted a government to do all these things. But JP is a small fry. Let's look at the big sprat, Sean Richards. And Sean Richards, I say respectfully, is definitely not fit for purpose. First, Sean does not respect the rule of law. He does not respect the rule of law. If he made or took this decision when he went to last lap, what does it tell us about Sean and the rule of law?
You all heard about the incident at last lap. The incident with Lindsay. And the night when that incident took place, I went to last lap the night. When I got there, I saw John L. there, I saw Lindsay there. The friend and I joined them in conversation. And we were there speaking for about an hour. I left last lap, I went outside. And we were outside, I saw 3 police officers standing up on the outside. I said good night to the police officers. I continued to my vehicle. When I said good night, the police officers answered me. They said good night. I waited for the friend to come out. I jumped in my vehicle. I went home, go sleep. I heard that my name is in the police report relative to this incident at last lap. I said my name in police report? Well, what my name in police report for? Me no witness not no last lap. I wasn't part of no incident at last lap. What my name in any police report for? To say good night to the police? I said all right. I drive into work the morning. I called the commissioner of police. I said, Mr. Commissioner, good morning, how are you? He said he's good. I said, you have a few minutes to spare? He said yes. I said, let me ask you a question.
Imagine that. His name in a police report. And what he does, he calls the commissioner and demands that his name be withdrawn from the report. He went to cabinet and he demanded that, to use his word, take his name out of this report. And for 91 days, he refused to attend the cabinet and the business of the people. But hear this. Before he was threatened of arrest by a judge, we don't know the details on that, and Sean Richards owes the country an explanation of this, my straight dog family.
Lindsay would recall that I had the judge threatened to arrest me. And between Lindsay, myself, and Chesley, we had to be strategic in terms of ensuring that I wasn't arrested on my return to St. Kitts. I would not give the details as to what we had to do at that particular point in time.
Interesting revelation. Imagine a deputy prime minister and he circumvents justice again. What does that tell us about a man who wants to lead the country, but he does not respect the rule of law. Sean, my straight dog family, also plundered. He plundered UDC and he plundered SKELEC. He plundered the resources of UDC, I should say, and the resources of SKELEC. I told you about his spending spree from the time he became the minister with responsibility for SKELEC. I told you one of his first acts was to instruct the chairman of SKELEC, his good friend, to purchase and install 2 columns of lights at the Sandy Point playfield. And I want to clarify this because a caller made some comments on Monday about the lights in the playfield. Now, the Football Association, through its then president, approached government and wanted Warner Park lighting to be fit for purpose of hosting, international matches. And they wanted 1,300 lux, and there is still there now 650. So they hired a contractor, and the contractor just bought 4 additional columns of lighting. And from an engineering standpoint, it was felt that that was not the proper approach. Instead, use the same columns and put modern lighting on the same columns. So those 4 columns went to Sandy Point. Why Sandy Point wanted another set of lighting, only Sean Richards himself would know. But what is damning is that Sean Richards instructed SKELEC to purchase 2 columns of lights, and the cost of the procurement inclusive of installation was $1 million. And when we made that comparison with the lighting at St. Mary's Park, it needs to be repeated. St. Mary's Park lighting, and I was the minister then for public infrastructure, it cost us us meaning the government, $1.6 million to light the whole park. And it cost SKELEC $1 million to add 2 columns to the existing lights in Sandy Point. You do the maths, my straight dog family. You ask the questions, but lots of questions to be asked. And he plundered the SKELEC resources through its chairman Boncampo. And just on Monday, believe it or not, this was the post-cabinet briefing, and we always bring you the facts right here on Straight Talk. This was the post-cabinet briefing by Straight Talk family.
My name is Lesroy Williams, and I of May 2022. The Team Unity Cabinet of Ministers met on Monday, May 16, 2022, under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. The Cabinet received updates from ministers regarding their new portfolio assignments. The chairman, along with another board member of SKELEC, presented to the Cabinet on the difficult financial situation of the corporation. The corporation is now seeking a subvention from government for its operations.
You heard that, my straight dog family. Difficult financial situation at SKELEC. And that's fancy words. The fact is, SKELEC has no money to purchase its fuel, has no money to pay its staff's salaries, have no money to maintain all the equipment, all the generators, and only had up to Friday a 3-day supply of energy, of fuel, fossil fuel or diesel. If that fossil or that supply is exhausted, then the country will go into darkness. This is what Sean Richards left at SKELEC before he was fired. And the minister, the newly appointed minister and deputy prime minister, Eugene Hamilton, I'm advised, took that submission to court, to cabinet, beg your pardon, asking for a government subvention. What they're asking for is a government bailout. And how temporal will that bailout of $20 million? Because SKELEC needs $12 million each month to pay for its fuel bill. And with the war in Ukraine, the cost of fuel is going up and up and up. We've tried to mitigate against situations like this by installing or implementing or constructing a solar farm. I don't know what's happening to that solar farm. It's been lying there idle. Work has stopped for whatever reason, my Straight Talk family. But that's for another edition. But Sean plundered the resources of SKELEC. I'll tell you all that he had done there or directed over there. He would never say he don't know. Like he said he didn't know about the $250,000 guard hut. But SKELEC, $31 million reserve was poof by Sean Richards. Is this a man fit for the leadership? Is he even fit for government? I say no. Sean is not fit for public service, worse yet, to become Prime Minister. That's my story for tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. It's moving up to 22 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. I want you to weigh in on our discussion tonight, and you have your views on the exact disposition of St. Kitts and Nevis. My Straight Talk family, I'm going to go to the lines. I'm going to the lines and I will entertain your calls and your emails. But I want, before I do that, my Straight Talk family, implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendship. Let us ensure that the things we say will be beneficial to all concerned. And let us also ensure that in saying and doing those things, we will strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines. I thank you for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Evening, Patches. Hope all is well.
God has been good to me. What about you? All is well. I'm peaceful.
Great. Hanging in there. Man, this is shocking. What you're saying here tonight is shocking. No, let me start with one thing. What's with all these lawyers in one little party? This doesn't bode well for St. Kitts Nevis. All these lawyers in one little party, not good. No, when are you guys going to get moving? Mark Anthony is no good for Nevis, never mind St. Kitts. Mark Anthony, no good. It's terrible. And I got a feeling Amory, God bless his soul, was not too keen on that guy, Mark. He wasn't too keen on him. You could see that. Anybody who observed him could see.
Yes, he was not.
As I told you,
He was not.
you could see. Anybody who observed him, you could see. As I told you before, the French call our people children, childish. The British call them savages. And you know what the racist Arab do to them. So, I mean, Patches, even this four-legged animal know how to cooperate. You know, the four-legged animal. So what is it with our people? But this thing about Sean is shocking. You could see the instability and you could feel it in the country. The country is very unstable. This is an insurrection that was started by this. Mark Anthony seemed to be the leader of the camp. You know, from what he heard, he was in Sinkers today. Why did I have to go looking for this guy? He's saying Sinkers, people in Nevis got culture. What different culture does the people in Nevis have from Sinkers? He's a tribalist, okay? And Kittian has to start respecting themselves. Why are they accepting this stuff? Eh? They have no respect for themselves or for their country. Come on, man. And what's all this thing about Harris? Harris is to self-sinkers. He self-sinkers from the killers and murderers. Financially. And you know when you hear these people saying that, Harris wasn't loyal. Well, Harris is the guy you want to be in a foxhole with. Because he stood up to Douglas. The Douglas Mafia Labour Party. This man stood up. That's the guy you want to go in a foxhole with. So let me tell you, Brantley, Harris got to win this election. I think is finished with. Sinkers is no John L. And I'm going to say Pete myself, but John L seems to be more, calm-headed than these guys, than those fellas. But Sean, he's circumventing the law when he's going to and telling Harris not to. What is this guy doing? This is childish. He's a kid. In any civilized democracy, he'll be in jail. What's wrong? What's going on here? Anyhow, Patches, and another thing, Sean, two different story. Last week he making a stem, he was cussing Hamilton, he do this for personal. And this week he's saying, he making it sound like Hamilton just done retire. Two different stories. What's wrong with Sean? Sean is a distant relative. Oh my God. Oh Jesus God. I can't believe these things are happening. Oh my God. Patches, thank you for the family. God bless you. You guys got to start moving, okay? Have a good one, Patches. God bless you, man.
God bless you as well, my dear brother. And yes, you put it right. Harris, Prime Minister Harris, saved the country financially. He saved the country from all the killing. And we cannot forget ever that the Team Unity administration inherited a public debt of near $2 billion. Our crime rate was so high. We were called the murder capital of the world. But now today, we are living in peace and safety. Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, my brother. How about now?
Oh, brother, I'm good, man. I'm good, brother. And I feel a little better since you play those sound bites.
You do?
So those sound bites, they make me feel a little bit because the thing that was hidden, you brought them out tonight. Mm-hmm. And you know, Patrick, that is what I've been asking you for a long time. Just play the sound bites of all those who have done wrong and those who have said good commendation to the Prime Minister and the budget of last year. So I'm okay. No, Patrick, I'm so happy when I listen to Honorable Michael Powell's show and your show. Because I have learned a lot listening to Michael Powell's show. And when Michael Powell described those 6 people educated, and you know what he title behind that? Idiots. And he's so correct. Because someone who did not go to school, they operate, what should I say, brother? What should I say? They operate more sensible than those who went to 3 kind of school. Kindergarten, elementary, and high school, and then college. I mean, anybody can see what they're after. The country running good from since 2015. When the unity got together to move Dr. Douglas over 10 men in one. They get him moved. And then people see changes in the country. The crime, they deal with that. Whatever it takes to cut down on the crime. But with the leadership of Dr. Harris, they all agree that the country was running good and Dr. Harris is the best man to lead the country. All of them said it. You could hear them one by one on the soundbite. Well, all of a sudden now, we have 3 more years to go for him to complete his second term, which he agreed to. He will serve second 2 terms. But for greediness, they're telling lies and propaganda, and the man said that he wanted 3 terms, but I won't come back to that. So now the man don't run the country good, with 4 double salaries. They say, boy, this man is the man for the country to run the country. And all of a sudden now, all because of the confusion up at last park, and the so-called deputy want the commissioner to take his name out of something that he was involved in, because he was there and you see what was going on. So the police did their work. They have to include who they included in that thing. So who is he that the commissioner must move his name from there? He bigger than the law? No one bigger than the law. Now all of them want to find all kind of fault with Dr. Harris because they can't get what they want. The one up Nevis come down here disrespecting the Prime Minister. Mark Brantley disrespect the Prime Minister and other dignitaries who came from abroad. He come down to be the guest speaker, and instead of that he come down the cousin jumping up like a kangaroo. So stupid going on with all kind of foolishness, and they come here around want to fool people. But the reason why he joined with Sean before fair share. Fair share could be fair share when he get into check under the same federal government. 2 little islands, 1 federation. You getting a check from the local government in Nevis and federal check. That is unfair. And then come down to Christmas bonus. He get 3 checks. Well, what that be? What that be? Fair share or unfair share? If he were talking about fair share, then he would have taken one of those checks and give it to the school in Nevis, where school children have to pay for the school meal, the lunch. Give it to that. But no, after Dr. Harris, because he run in the country the way the country is supposed to run, and he not giving them nothing round the back door. When they go into cabinet, he's supposed to put the problem and everybody listen, and everybody give the opinion or whatnot, and they straighten out things. Don't wait until cabinet over and they come out and then you want to go with Dr. Harris. I want X more. And Dr. Harris here, I want X more. No. That is backstabbing. But anyway, Patches, I got more to talk about backstabbing when I come back. Because pressure is bust pipe. And I know for sure that the premier before this one of Nevis, but God knows the reason why he take him, and he take him to quit. Thank you, Patches. I'll be back.
Thank you, my brother. And you made a point that we have overlooked for many years. Because ask yourselves if you can be 2 places at the same time. You get 2 salaries for 2 jobs. Could a premier of Nevis, or anyone for that matter, serve as premier of Nevis and still as a foreign minister of St. Kitts at the same time? And it is my understanding that he actually never came to St. Kitts, or he only came to St. Kitts once per week, and he was coming for cabinet. And you have had to send the files up to Nevis for him to sign anything. As you just can't be 2 places at the same time. Alexis Jeffers could not be Agriculture Minister of Nevis and Agriculture Minister of St. Kitts at the same time. It's virtually or physically impossible. But let's go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
Good night.
Good night. Sounds like my brother politics. How about that?
Yeah, first, I want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, a country you are born into and live into up now and doing well. Now, Patches, I just want the people of this Federation of St. Kitts Nevis to keep focus. To keep focus because the Federation is coming and different political era is coming. From the past 2 elections, I see it. But it's when I walk around town, this is election time. And me ain't seen a big billboard. Me ain't seen nobody in a political shot parading up and down. And there's some reason for that. Some reason for that, Patches.
I believe you.
So I just want the young men and women, especially in the Federation, especially those grandmothers and mothers who lose their young boy children, gone to the earth without something positive to this for them. When you hear that the farmer leader was there saying that they have responsibility to coin. And this is the thing we can't forget, Patches.
No, we cannot.
We cannot forget that at all.
Not at all.
Because I believe that, and I'm going to say all the time, Dr. Harris was a God sent. When he called come going together, with chief political party, the party come together, and do what he got to do to form team unity. And this country, as far as I concerned, was going well. Up to now, a shock. And a lot of people shocked. But Patches, I just want to my good brothers and sisters, especially number 3, Akila Byron, Nisbet. I see that she ain't getting a chance to walk. She ain't getting a chance to roll out. And I just want you all continue to support her. When the election come, you all go and make it all for her. Because this PLP got to stand. This new political party got to stand. Because the people themselves get fed up a leader, they get fed up a pan, they want something new. We know they get something new. Then we see what something new can move this country forward to. With a great leader. Patches, you have a wonderful night. The God bless the Federation of 6 and tell all the nations them out there. Think it gonna stand, and me gonna stand, culture gonna stand, rap gonna stand, and Alice gonna stand. Because we standing up for justice and with equal rights. Good night.
Thank you very much, Mr. Politics. Good night as well. Thanks for your intervention. And just for information, the numbers are to access Straight Talk. There are 2 numbers. The overseas number is 646-829-6672. The local number is 869-663-6672. Again, 663-6672. Those are the only 2 numbers that can give you access to to Straight Talk, beg your pardon. As a retired civil servant, reads this email, and reside in one of the Federation's salubrious communities, Frigate Bay, I have listened quite attentively, coupled with my observation of the performance of an attitude, beg your pardon, of political candidates, particularly in the sphere of leading the Federation through these turbulent economic times. Who is best suited and equipped for the job? Is it Jew? Sorry, he is too inexperienced. Is it Sean? No, I am not impressed with his conduct, attitude, disposition, demeanor, and public display. Is totally unbecoming, so he too is ruled out. Therefore, the best alternative is Dr. Harris to continue leading this Federation. I thank you. Reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding you alive. Hello?
How are you, my brother?
Oh, I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm great. I'm in the court, and I'm sure. So I'm listening to the evidence, and as something as a juror, you can call a witness to the stand when you're a foreman. So I'm calling you to the stand because I have heard so-called the plaintiff present his case. I haven't yet heard the defendant, but I'm going to call you and the witness stand. So I would like to engage you in answering me some questions. First question is, when you have a red passport
what does that give you? Does it give you the right to travel to the US or travel anywhere without a visa?
No. If you're saying a red passport, I believe you're referring to a diplomatic passport.
Diplomatic passport.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to enter the country, you're subject to the rules of immigration rules of the country. You'll have to get a visa. For example, you mentioned the United States. You'll need a visa to get to the United States, even though you have a diplomatic passport.
Okay, question. That is answered. The second question. I worked by electric light for years. That's why I worked at electric light for years, and I'm a bit surprised. I'm baffled to hear that this comment that has been made, or this statement that has been made about electricity department, because such as you all just lay a lot of cable around the place. I mean, you go up Monkey Hill, you go on and see a lot of cable that has been laid down. So why is it that we take funds and put it into that if we know that our resources was running low? I mean, it bothers me. And one of the problems I have with government over the years, listen to me carefully, one of the problems I have with government over the years is that you appoint a board member. You appoint someone on the board. I remember that Bonkampa was up at the port. I don't know what happened, whether he was fired, he was moved, he was transferred or what. But when you're appointing members to a board, Patches, you must appoint people who have knowledge about that particular institution. I mean, look at the electricity department. The only person on electric light board who know about what is going on is Terry Byron, and he has been kicked aside. You can put somebody on. So when you're going to say, look, our plan is to run 2 high tension wire down here. The other person doesn't have the idea to say, let us run 3. Because in some time, we would need a 3-phase. We already have the wire there, you're just going to change the transformer. Instead, I have to go and run back a 3rd wire. So I am saying, when you're appointing people to board, you must appoint people who know. Another thing I have a problem with SKELEC is that it is time enough now that SKELEC start going around the country and encouraging people of this country to get the 210 line in your house. Nevis has been doing it, and I have to give Nevis credit. It have a girl in Nevis who is the inspector from Guyana. The first time I met her, I applaud her. Because what you are doing is that when you give the general public the 210 line in the house, they actually save some money. Anybody who have a 10 kVA transformer in their house, you know definitely that your bill, if you just leave the transformer running, going to be at least $200 per month. So I am saying, instead of our people who we elect and select to run these committee have knowledge, because we put them there because it's with friends. And when they end up in trouble, the customer didn't feel it. When we end up in trouble, the consumer feel it.
Sure.
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised what I'm hearing about the electricity department. But like I said, is that see me and come work with me is to different. And I am saying that we need people who are responsible. We need people who are responsible. And Patches, let me ask you the last question. You might have more idea than I know. Were the police called, or was the police entered last lap because there was a confrontation with Mr. Grant, or entered last lap because there was a break of protocol? And I leave that for you to answer. Have a nice evening, my brother.
Have a nice evening as well. I don't normally answer the questions from this side of the mic, but to facilitate, my information is that there was a breach of the COVID protocols at last lap, and that's why the police, or the task force, in fact, that includes police, visited that particular institution, or that particular bar, I should say. And SKELEC is broke. SKELEC is broke, and SKELEC is asking the government for some monies to pay its bill and pay for its services. I'm awfully sorry I've had this caller on hold for a long time. Caller, forgive me. Thank you for holding. Are you there? Hello, caller?
Yes, sir. Good night, Patrick.
I'm very sorry.
Hello.
I'm very sorry. Good night, sir.
Yes, Patrick. You were talking about law and order. But when you were the minister, right, you breached the airport security.
Why
you didn't follow the proper protocol.
What were the proper protocols, may I ask you?
Right? You're supposed to go through the proper channels, identify yourself, go to the security, do not walk the back door, do not walk on the steps and go up the ramp.
But that was not true.
Right?
Are you there? Are you there?
And yes, I'm here.
Yes, Mr. Hanley, I can say to you, right? The video was circulated for the whole world to see. I had, as the minister with you'll have the chance to speak. As the minister with responsibility for Casper, right? I had a proper identification, a security pass, vetted by the authorities. It was on my chest. You must have seen the video, I'm sure. And I went through, not around. I went through the security scanners. I went through that. So don't come with that propaganda.
You were supposed to go through and check the security. Right? You did not do that.
So are you making up your own story now? What is your point?
I'm not making up my own story.
Okay, I've said that. Right. I don't agree with you, but go ahead. What's the other point?
Right.
Any other point?
The other point is, right, let's say last lap. I heard the story what Sean said, right? But this is the question I asked him, right? I mean, I didn't hear Sean made the mention that the police officers who were there paid the compliments to him as the Deputy Prime Minister, salute him because I showed that they were in uniform. I didn't hear anything about that.
But he gave his account of the story. He said good night, and the officer said good night. So what is the point you're making?
Yes, so I was wondering if they paid the compliment. Right?
But is that material? But normally they would salute. Right. So what? So if you're saying if they saluted him, he shouldn't put his name in the report. That's what you're saying?
Listen, putting the name in the report, right? What Sean was saying is that out of whatever amount of people were there, right? If only his name could be mentioned.
But he's a pep. He's what they call a pep. He's a politically exposed person, and that's not abnormal. You were a police officer. Would you accept? I recognize the voice. Would you, as a police officer, in your statement, allow the commissioner to change it?
No, who said he asked the commissioner to change it?
He said
I didn't hear that.
But that's why he didn't. But that's why he didn't go to the cabinet. He said unless they take his name out of the statement, he's not going to cabinet.
The clip that he played, from the commissioner, what he said, he spoke to the commissioner. I didn't hear him tell the commissioner taking him out. I didn't hear that.
You didn't hear that one. I didn't play that tonight, but I'll play. He said that on a station in Grenada. Come on, that's the first time we heard about it. I'll play it for you tonight. I'll play it for you tonight before, so don't hang up. I'll play that for you tonight, and perhaps if you hold, I'll play it for you right now. Let me find it for you, my Straight Talk family. Just stay put, and I'm going to ask the callers to hold a while because we always bring in the facts here. You're probably listening for the first time, but wait a while. Don't go too fast. I'll play that for you because we have all the information here. Whether you live in Canada or St. Kitts or wherever you live, we will find that information and pass it to you. And I ask you the question, if you were a police officer, and you were, and I recognize the voice, would you have put his name in the statement, or would you have accepted for a commissioner of police to take the name of the statement? You didn't answer that question.
The commissioner, I wouldn't agree with the police commissioner to take no name out of no report.
Right. So
what I'm saying, if I was there and I doing a report, I would have put everybody who I know was there.
You would have put the 50 names? You would have put the 50 names, you're saying?
Whether 50 or 25, I would have put the names who I know.
Okay, okay. Point taken, but he didn't say how many names were in the report. He was saying his name should not be in the report. That's what he said. You remember that?
Right. Yeah, he said his name should not be in the report, right?
Okay, okay.
But that don't mean that he said that you must take it out.
But he said it, take his name out of the report. That's why he didn't go to the cabinet. For 91 days, he didn't go to the cabinet. Do you agree with that as well?
No, I don't agree with him staying away from cabinet. Right? That was not good, right? As a minister, he should go and listen. Even if you don't want to say anything, just go and listen. Right.
Okay, anything else? I'm looking for the soundbite for you, but if...
Okay,
I'll play it for you. I'll play it for you. Yes, I'll play it for you before we go. But you'll agree, though, that he does not respect the rule of law by his performance. Would you?
Well, by his performance?
Yes, by his actions. By his actions.
I agree. I did not agree with the action staying away. Okay. I did not agree with that.
But what about calling the police commissioner? The Prime Minister of England got fined by the Metropolitan Police because of a breach in his own downtown residence. He was fined for breaching the COVID protocols in the United Kingdom. He didn't call the commissioner of police, if that's what they call them in England, but he was fined. Do you agree that Sean should have called the commissioner of police and tampering with the justice? Yes or no?
Well, yes, he could have called the commissioner of police, right? And if he want to inquire about whatever, he could.
He could. Okay.
Right? I don't see anything wrong with that in calling, but to make what you say he did, right? I don't agree.
He interfered. He interfered in justice.
Right? If you play the clip for me, and he said that he tell the commissioner to take out the name, then I would apologize.
Okay, my brother. Thank you for your input, and thank you for your objectivity. At least you understand, and you seem to be a reasonable former policeman, and I'm thank you for that, my dear brother, and thank you for your intervention tonight. And I want you to say to you that there's no evidence that I ever breached security, and that is really a nonsense. But thanks for your input. Thanks for your information, my Straight Talk family. Thanks a lot. It's now 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, and we're looking at those who we consider unfit for purpose. This message reads, Mr. Larry Vaughan, a post published immediately after Premier Mark Brantley's address, particularly to Nevisians, has been well received and fully endorsed by Nevisians. Thank you, Larry, for exposing Mark's incompetence, bigotry, his selfishness, his egotism, haughtiness, and pompous, pretentious public attitude has reached the zenith of his political career. I want to assure Larry and the rest of the Federation that we Nevisians will bring Mark's political career to an end in the upcoming elections. At least one of his salaries will be extinguished, and this is welcoming news to us here in Nevis. Mark is very heartless and all about himself. Farewell, Mark, reads this email. And in the event you have just joined us, my Straight Talk family, we are looking at Not Fit for Purpose Part 2. We looked at Part 1. And as I said in the introduction, for those of you who may have just joined me, that we have a bunch of politicians who are definitely not fit for purpose. And when I introduced the topic not fit for purpose on Monday, I reflected then on the 5 years of my own experience in the cabinet of the first Team Unity administration. So I knew that when I spoke from a position of authority. But with respect to the last 22 months of the Team Unity government or administration, I did my research, I did my analysis from the outside of the cabinet looking in. And you would recognize, you would accept that I always brought you the supporting evidence. And my research and analysis brought me to the conclusion that this grand experiment in 2020 with the Gang of Six, we now call them, has failed in its goal of providing effective protection against the abuse of power and the misuse of the people's money. Lots of us are surprised about SKELEC, but many more things will come, because what has happened at SKELEC is unacceptable, and there must be an investigation. And I hope and trust that that investigation will not wait until after election. It must start now. It must start right now, because SKELEC is in trouble. It's broke. And why is SKELEC broke? Because of the mismanagement of the monies, the funds of SKELEC. There was $31 million left. I left $31 million in reserves, because we had to have kept always for reserves for obvious reasons. Obvious reasons. So why did you plunder the resources? You raped the resources of SKELEC. Rape them and put SKELEC and the country in this precarious position. I don't even know if SKELEC has received. I saw an oil tanker here yesterday, discharging yesterday. I don't know if they have received our fuel. I don't know. I haven't checked it, to be exact. But I know that they have run SKELEC in the red and then have now run to the government. And Sean Richards, as the minister, I understand, had that submission since March of 2022. And he failed to bring it to the cabinet for whatever reason. He signed it. He signed the submission. And SKELEC obviously cried out to him as the minister, and he did absolutely nothing, my Straight Talk family. And that is sad, sad, sad. And my Straight Talk family, I want to also say to you, I want to say to you as well, that you hear them talking a lot, but hear this, my Straight Talk family. This is what Mark Brantley himself said this about cabinet and the process and the performance of Prime Minister Harris. Would you believe that Mark Brantley said this? Many of us won't believe this, but they have a short memory, my Straight Talk family.
The ministries don't always get what they want. We have a document that is fit for purpose, and a document that speaks to the challenges but also the hopes and aspirations for the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis for the new fiscal year. And so I commend all who have been involved.
I must play that one more time, my Straight Talk family. I must play that one more time, because you cannot believe these are the same people who are talking now. You will not believe this, my Straight Talk family.
The ministries don't always get what they want. The ministers don't always get what they want. But at the end of the day, we have a document that is fit for purpose, and a document that speaks to the challenges but also the hopes and aspirations for the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis for the new fiscal year. And so I commend all who have been involved.
Would you believe as well that Mark Brantley said this? He said this as well, my Straight Talk family. He said this as well about Prime Minister Harris.
Mr. Speaker, I've come now to the point I'm sure that you wanted me to get to, the conclusion. But before I conclude, let me simply say that this budget is realistic. It doesn't contain any pie-in-the-sky promises. It says to our people that we must tighten our belts because hard times have come. not through any fault of our own, not through any mismanagement or lack of transparency or good governance. And that is why I have to commend the move of the bill, the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Financial Secretary, and the entire team. And commend the Cabinet too, because the process over here is a very open and transparent one, where all Cabinet members participate in the budget discussions leading up to the compilation of the budget.
You have heard that yourself, my Straight Talk family. An open process. Everyone participated in the cabinet. So what is the problem now? What is the problem now, my Straight Talk family? But my Straight Talk family, you see, people are not honest. People are not honest at all because they do not believe in the truth. But let's take this other email in the meantime, my Straight Talk family. And this email reads at 17 past the 9 o'clock hour. This email reads, my Straight Talk family, Sean, over the years, I realized that your mantra on the political platform was no gimmicks, no tricks. Well, Sean, explain to us whether or not your recent statement that your diplomatic passport was deactivated by Harris and the government to preclude you from returning home. Well, Sean, I am an immigration officer and have access to the system, and I back-checked the system, and I can state categorically and unequivocally that Sean has lied to the world that his passport was deactivated. His passport is still fully functional actively. Come straight, Sean, and make a public apology. Furthermore, Sean, if any of you former ministers that were dismissed were honest, the next day following your dismissal, you would have already turned in your diplomatic passport. Well, that's a reasonable position, because if you're not a minister of government, you shouldn't be going out to the world pretending you are. You should not present yourself to the world as a minister. But the day he was fired, he is no longer the deputy prime minister, so he should not have a passport, a parade in the world as the deputy prime minister. And that's my view, and I'm sure it's the view of many, many people. I'm trying to find that soundbite. In the meantime, while you see me, I'm here hesitating for that caller from overseas, from the caller from Toronto to be exact, when Sean revealed to the world that he was not going to cabinet. He revealed on the narrative, I think it was, that for 2 months he has not been to cabinet. And I'm trying to find that, because we do have the facts whenever we talk about them, my Straight Talk family, and I will provide that sooner rather than later. And this is what he said. I now found it, and he said this. I hope this is the right soundbite for my good friend over there in Toronto. And this is what Sean Richards said on the narrative. I think that's the name of the program that is called The Narrative, when he said this.
The last thing I was told is that the report has been altered and my name has been removed from the report. Again, I left it like that. About a week later, I was at a certain establishment, and while sitting down there, someone came to me and said to me, "Well, how you ain't tell me you were at last lap when this thing happened?" I said, "I didn't consider it important because I ain't know what happened at last lap. All I know something happened at last lap. I don't know what happened there." I said, "But wait, but you got to be my name in this report still." So the next day, I went to cabinet and I complained about it again, because I said I was told that my name has been removed from the report. But based on reliable information, my name still included in the police report. And I took a decision there and then that until this matter is cleared up, I am not coming back to any cabinet meeting. Because if nobody can stand up for my name, I can stand up for my name myself.
Okay, but that was not even the soundbite I looked for, but that one is even more explicit to my good brother friend over there in Toronto. So I anticipate you'll call back, as you said, and apologize. Nonetheless, my Straight Talk family, let's go to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller? Yes, caller, you're live.
Hello?
Yes, could you just turn your radio down or your equipment down? Listen to
Yes, my brother.
Yes, sir.
How is it? So far, so good.
Thank you.
Long live the king. There's something that I must explain, and I want the world to get it clear. When the Prime Minister came to office, it was revealed to me to go to him and greet him, long live the king, and said to him that he came to office for a time like this. So all this mockery was going on. Sean had to let him be the Prime Minister because it was appointed by God. He said he come to office for a time like this. And when I mentioned it to him, he said, how do you know that? I said to him, oh king, he said that there won't be a hurricane. And we could see from since there is not a hurricane. And I believe with all my heart that he will make the next Prime Minister again. Because it is a season is set on his life. I don't know if the season have come and go. It's maybe still there lingering. I don't know the work of God. But he said to tell him he come to office for a time like this. And even before the pandemic came in, I was at the altar kneeling. And when I get up, I heard the voice said, watch and pray. I went and I said to my doctor, he asked me if I hear anything, and it wasn't long after this pandemic coming. So I was wondering if it was this the time. And if it's this the time, I don't think it's over yet. But then my time is not God's time. Patches, there's so much I could tell you even before the election. I know one would lose the seat, but the honest truth, I was looking for Hamilton and not you. But I said one got to lose for a killer to come in. I spread it in Tabernacle, I could have said it because then when it appears to me, I saw a crowd in front of Ram. And it was two crowds. It was the Labour crowd and the Unity crowd. But coming out my sleep, the voice says to me, Unity edge them. So then I know if the time ain't passed, this is his time. Regardless of what you see going on, he will make king. Long live the king, my brother. God bless you, sir.
God bless you as well. And thank you for that testimony there. And I'm sure it's a testimony that we ought to really take as seriously. Because I believe, just like you, that, or rather I ask myself, what would St. Kitts have been like without a Timothy Harris, who handled the public debt, put us into surplus year after year. He paid 4 successive double salaries in the first term. 4 successive double salaries out of a 5-year term. He tackled the crime. I don't like to say it, but I have to say it because it is fact. We were known as the murder capital of the world. Imagine 35 murders in a year. And I can testify because it came right on my own doorstep, or in my house, I should say. And my Straight Talk family, COVID came. COVID shut down the entire world. A pandemic, something we have not seen, the world had not seen in a century, 100 years. And Harris introduced the Life First strategy. They made all sorts of politics when we closed the country down. It was a tough one. I said to a particular doctor just about 2 weeks ago, the first decision that as a cabinet we made was to refuse refuse entry in local parlance of a cruise ship with over 650 Italians on board. And I remember what that doctor said when they made that presentation to the cabinet. They said we should not allow those passengers to land. And he ended his proposition like this: you know, in time to come, we may be considered as being paranoid, but we do not believe that those passengers should disembark the ship. The ship sailed port, much to the disgust of many taxi drivers. And it was making reference to that proposition by that particular doctor just about 2 weeks ago. They were right. He was right. And the cabinet took the advice of the medical fraternity, and we shut the country down. And here we are, recovering from COVID. People are still out of jobs, but yet the gang of six are destabilizing the country. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick, for my little short time, second term. Patrick, you're going good. And that is what the world need to hear. Let the world hear who said this and who said that. So, I am shocked with what SKELEC has come to. After, you said how much money you leave there in SKELEC, and then SKELEC run down to this. No wonder they're going around cutting Tom, Dick, and Harry lights. Even if they see a wire attached to somebody's house, they don't know if the person got current in there, what, they're going to cut it. All because they're trying to scrabble to get money to take shame out of the oil for what they have done to SKELEC. And we shouldn't have to reach to this. That is why the one in Sunny Point, the Royal and hurry for power, and the one in Nevis hurry for money. Because the one in Nevis want to use the money to fool the people in Nevis that he want the money for Nevis because Nevis ain't get fair share. So he trying to cover Nevis with a political umbrella using the word fair share. Fair share? When the former administration of the federal, when he bounced the check for the whole of Nevis under the leadership of the late Sir Dr. Emery, when he bounced the check, that one day know who is the premier of Nevis. He was right under the premier first, and he realized what Dr. Douglas tried to do to Nevis. And then all of a sudden, you could see he was backstabbing Prime Minister Dr. Harris all the time. Now when you hear him talking, but he backstabbing. So you're going to tell me the convention for PLP, not this year, last year, when it was over at least, when he should have come down and give support to his other colleague in the team unity. He set up the Nevis on a bench sitting down, and Dr. Douglas went up there and pictures were taken of the two of them on the same bench sitting down. The same man who tried to starve Nevis people with the bounce check. And look what he doing now. Hugging up Dr. Douglas That should he care about Nevis people? He should tell Dr. Douglas, listen, I'm not in that with you. You try to starve us by not giving up the money to feed the people and the people could pay the bill. And I'm not going to sit down here with you and backstab Dr. Harris. But you say, a Judas is a Judas. Hear me, see me and come near me, it's really fun me. And that is what he do. He fooled me. And he fooled Mr. Politics. Because me and Mr. Politics were the two most critical calling him Punish every Wednesday. Not knowing that the man is a backstabber. When he come down to St. Kitts, he say he go to Mali News. And then he go to Cairn, and then he go to St. Paul's. Where you going to St. Paul's all the way down there for? Because he down there, you colleague level, you backstabber. And now we come in talking about fair shake. Tell the world what you do with the $400 million. Show the world what you do in Nevis with that. Come on, man. So now they're scrabbling now that they could get in power. They could move Dr. Harris so they could control the money and then pay up the debt, the gravitational debt, what they are called. They work so. Anyway, patches are going now. Good night, Mr. Bactus. Good night, Dr. Elvis. And good night, Rasbrook of Monkey Hill. You all are doing great. And young people, look at those who ask you all to vote for them and you all pay to vote for them. Now you come to vote. Put them aside. They are not fit to run the country to help anybody. They are against the young people getting money to help them start their own business. They say they're going to cut out all of that. People listen good. Come out and vote and separate the bad from the good. Thank you, Patrick. Have a good night, brother.
Have a good night as well. Brother, it's 9:33. My Straight Talk family. And as we said, they are not fit for purpose. I want to listen up closely to this email. Its caption is, Bet You Sorry Now. And this host and Straight Talk is for everyone, those who agree and those who disagree. Most hosts would never read an email like this, which reads like this, and I quote, Patches, I have stopped looking at your comedy show for quite some time now. For despite being a comedy show, it's not even funny. I just stopped by to tell you though that I heard that Timo threw you in the garage pan. That's where garbage belongs anyway. He's doing you a favor though. For the first time you won't win by default. And when things were good you could win. The whole bunch of you will soon be at the Connery dump. Read this email. And that's what Straight Talk is all about. You stopped listening to the comedy show, but you still had time to send an email. Thank you for participating, and thank you, caller. You are live. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're live, sir.
Yeah. Patches?
Yes, you're live.
When they remove you as infrastructure, they have done a great disservice to the country. You was a great minister of infrastructure.
Thank you.
I was told that you left a surplus of over $30-something million in SKELEC. And now that cannot be found. Just the other day, SKELEC sent me a bill and a letter. Say if me and pay the bill, they won't cut me off. I want to know how come that they don't cut me off when I just give me a bill and all the holy bill I owe them. I knew that something was wrong. After I heard the problem they got, I hear other people arguing saying how SKELEC cut them off. And they was arguing with the government. Now the economic
Okay, we seem to have lost that caller there. Our caller, don't know what's the problem, but please try and get back. The system seemed to have dropped your call. But nonetheless, it's 24 before the 10 o'clock hour. I hate when I lose callers, and that caller seemed to be going on a very interesting intellectual path, which I'm sure that everyone was listening for. And I trust and hope you'll get back in. The numbers again are 663-6672. The overseas line is 646-829-6672. And we are entertaining your calls. Again, forgive me, callers, something just went wrong with that particular phone call, and I trust you will get back in sooner rather than later. And for those who may have just joined us, we're looking at those men, in particular those who were fired. And we have to take warning and listen up closely to what they are saying as well. They are saying quite a lot of things, and we ought to listen to them carefully. Because my Straight Talk family, when they say or make certain statements, when certain statements are made, you have to listen carefully and analyze what is being said, because people say things and they are meaning behind lots of the things that they say. Because it is important that we understand where we are going to this particular period of time. This particular period of time, we have to make a choice. And we have my Straight Talk family to ensure we make the right choice. Some people are saying that they do not feel like voting. Like I said to someone, it's good people who refuse to vote, and then we get bad government. So I expect you, and I trust and hope that you will vote. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live. Hey, caller, could you yes, could you talk?
Hello.
Yes, yes, the Bible man. How art thou?
I'm fine. I'm wonderful. That's it. Somebody come by me this afternoon and tell me something, and that you and the province in problem, and the more you have as a station. I tell the sister, to listen here, that's a propaganda. You hear me? And you must stop listening to propaganda. I said, listen tonight. Patches will come on from the ear. And they want to say everything against the Prime Minister for everybody who stop talking. And you understand? No, Patches. I want to tell you that in 2015, I know, but before 2015, I know that God gonna make Mr. Harris the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis. I told him so. I said, brother, you're not the one, you know. You'll come the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis. Well, I don't know if anybody believe me, but he happened. And I am going to say this again. In 2022, the PLP is going to be the government. And I'm going to, you know why I said that? Listen here. God said in Psalm 41, it's a blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. That is, God is not going to take up people who he done reject. He rejects Saul. He bring me to David. And you can tell me God gonna bring back somebody who pressurized the poor people 85%, 600% for water, 17% without charge. The himself was taxing the dead. No, it can't happen. I depend and I start on the word of God. The people were pressurized, and God heard a prayer, and God removed them. And you think God can bring them back? No. Me not care what they do. All of them, every one of them going in the Red Sea. Every jack man going in the Red Sea. Sometimes forget, I'm telling you, God had his hand on Mr. Harris, you hear me? And God opened, you see, God opened and showed Mr. Harris and showed the country what shall be. Because if shall be going there, my God, the country that gone wandering. But God, the God that John James served. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm telling you, God is going to really reward us.
Okay.
And so, Manabala.
Okay, John J.
Because they don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
But the situation is it. God is going to intervene. And what happened 2015 going to happen 2022. Mr. President, have a present. And hello.
Yes, my
Come ask that question. When you coming for the close up here?
I'll come by you before the week is done, my brother, okay?
I want to put a minute. I got a minute video now.
Okay, I'll come by you. Tomorrow is Friday. I'll get you before the weekend. Okay? So I get my sauce up drink, okay?
But I got a minute video you.
Okay, got you. Come get them, my brother, okay? I promise.
All right, you take care.
Have a good night.
You too.
That's the Bible man, my straight family. To apologize for that, my straight up family. I do apologize for that mix up there. Caller, you live? Are you there, caller?
Hello.
Oh, I'm happy you got back in. Yes, my dear brother, happy you got back in. You seem to have dropped that call. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. What I was saying, right, is that the economic and social situation on the world stage is serious. There is a global food shortage that is causing social unrest around the world. Inflation is destroying the living standard of the world's population. The comprehensive management of a country's financial resources is paramount. The people in this federation did not feel the full economic and social effects of the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. But we must not take it for granted. The Federation is now facing a political dilemma that was brought on by two political renegades. The Federation is now facing an uncertain future. Elections is not going to solve our problem. In fact, it might become even more difficult after the election. Unity is the strength of a resourceful people. What we can get done united, we cannot get half of it divided. The emphasis must not be on size of country, but rather on the resourcefulness of the people. Sean Richards and Mark Brantley despise Dr. Harris. So they are trying to convince the people of the Federation to do likewise. When Dr. Harris became Prime Minister, not a single person could have envisioned that a virus called COVID-19 was coming. Dr. Harris put his economic and financial expertise on display and rescued the Federation from economic and financial collapse. Did anybody pause to wonder what if COVID had come before Dr. Harris? If COVID had come while we was under the rule of the servant of Satan, dog will eat we supper. Dr. Harris is a resourceful son of the soil who have dedicated his resourcefulness to the benefit of the entire population. The people of the Federation must show their appreciation and pray to Almighty God that other resourceful sons of the soil will do likewise. The present situation in this Federation is critical. As a resourceful people, let us not go forward in anger, but rather look around with an awareness. We could solve the problem if we do the right thing in the next time around. Thank you.
Caller, before you, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because you made a point about what we can achieve as a united people against not being united. But you referred to two renegades. Two political renegades. Am I to understand that these two political renegades have abandoned the unity concept?
They have abandoned the unity concept, and they are millionaires. They have money. They don't have to think about the working class people. The working class people is who suffer. So they, whether it's united, yes or not, is the working class people, the ordinary working class people that will suffer.
How should we treat them?
And those are the people Dr. Harris is looking for.
Right.
Take for instance, Sean Richards wants the Minister of Finance because he wants done with the PAC program, the People's Empowerment Program. He wants done with it. And that is one that he listed against Dr. Harris.
So how should
and that's a program helping ordinary little people across the nation.
So how should the ordinary working class people treat them when they come to the elections?
Well, you have to educate them because you got a lot of politically blind people out there, you know. So you have to educate them that when they go to the polls, they must go to the polls for something tangible. Some people go into the polls for years and they're still penniless. They're still a scrabble because they're not being educated enough. They get education to know what it's all about to go to the polls. Okay. Going to the polls is secure your future and your children's future. Having a country well managed is good for you and your families. Not just your alone, but your families. Those are coming. And in this time, we need people who could manage our resources, our financial resources. Because the world in a situation today where every top got to sit on the one bottom. We used to get aid from the European Cedar America that cut down, that gone in. We hear recently that the European Union Parliament passed a resolution to give us 3 years to done with the sale of the passport. When the sale of the passport is what helping us economically because they cut back the aid.
Yep.
And here is Gaston Brown arguing on our behalf. And that is why the people must be educated to understand what's going on. Otherwise, we find ourselves in all kind of problem down the line.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much, my dear brother.
Right.
sound intervention. And yes, he has warned us. We may lose the PAP if we make that mistake and elect Sean Richards. But more than that, we may also lose the peace program if you elect them.
The peace program, I can't talk about that. Because I don't know nothing about the peace. I don't know nothing about the peace. What I mean by that, I, like you, I only hear peace. I don't know how you get on the peace, how much you get on the peace, who on the peace. As far as I know, only one man know about peace. I talking the truth. You see, some people don't like truth, eh? Some people ain't like truth. But I'm going on the premise tonight that even though I don't know, we may be able to reconcile our differences, and maybe sometime next week or the week after, I may know about the peace. So I'll come and tell you about that. But right now, I can't tell you about the peace, because me ain't know nothing about that.
Is it denying knowledge of the peace? Because we understand they too want to end the peace program. Caller, you are live. I want to thank you for holding. Are you still there?
Yes, Pastor. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, not only Mr. Grant want to end the peace, but Mr. Douglas want to end the peace and the PAP program, because he said the PAP and the peace program will disappear overnight. So Douglas and I want to end it. So that's what I call him to say. Okay? He said it in George Street and the first family. Okay, good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. So see, there's lots at stake for this election. Douglas, Sean, Lindsey Grant, they all want to end the peace and PAP. So too, Mark Brantley. So we have to vote to ensure that we have a well-managed country and a country with a leader that would protect the working class. Caller, you live.
Yeah, that is real quick. Now the Prime Minister is spending the money wisely and he's creating money. Now, if your father feeding you, and why should you want somebody to come in and invest inquire about your father who feeding you? If you don't, if you want somebody to come in and inquire about your father who feeding you, that means you're not pleased about your father feeding you and you have a problem getting food. Now, we have Central Bank, Caribbean Central Bank, which oversees the Caribbean countries, especially the OECS. And then you have the higher bank, which is the World Bank. The World Bank, it knows no political party in St. Kitts. That the Prime Minister see the need for the World Bank to come in and do what they have to do. So the whole world could understand how the money was spent. Why should all of them have a problem with the World Bank coming here?
Okay.
And some idiot overseas, educated idiot, come talking about hell no, what the Prime Minister want World Bank here for. If the Prime Minister judge whatever he want to judge, they're going to say, oh, it's political. But the Prime Minister step back and let the World Bank, who knows better and knows best and more educated about these businesses, come in and sort this thing out. And they got a problem with that. So therefore, you can see what they want. They want everything to go up, topsy-turvy, upside down, that they go get what they want and do what they want with the money. But it don't work so. Prime Minister, you're going good. Bring in the World Bank, man. Bring it in. Let the World Bank say who spend money worthlessly and recklessly. Thank you, Patches.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Good night. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Not too bad. Mr. Liburd, I wasn't going to call you, but as the man done talk, Lord, it thrilled me so. All them things he said is so right. Mr. Liburd, the pep done under Douglas, and the same boys them was under him, and they couldn't, and they not do nothing for them. And so why they want to do the Prime Minister so? and it's them take him. The man couldn't say more. And I ain't no more to say. Well done. Harris again. They can't move him. No care who. See you.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for everything, you know.
Thank you very much. Sounds
I laugh.
That sounds like Alice in Wonderland, my straight talk family. It's now 4 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We started somewhat late, so I have a tendency of giving you back a few of those minutes we've lost. So I'll take a few more calls before we wind the program up. And remember that we have some decisions to make as a people. It's important that we examine the future and what can derive, what will become of those decisions that we make. We've heard the fact that this is a new political era. It is a new political era. Because as that caller made mention, that unity came as a result of divine intervention. And unity and Prime Minister Harris was appointed by God. The number again is 663-6672. Again, 663-6672. That's the number. Some people who haven't got in, I'll give you an opportunity to get in. I'll take 2 more calls before we wrap tonight. Again, 663-6672 is the number. And we were really looking at, for tonight, part 2 of our topic, not fit for purpose. We're also going to take this final email for the night as well. We take this email as well, but let's take this call in the meanwhile. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening. Okay, that's the call. But are you going in together? Because
Can you hear me, caller? Can you hear me, caller? Hello, caller. It's just getting. Okay, the quality of the call was not the best. I do apologize. I call her my good Labour friend. Sounded as if you were in a foxhole there, my dear Casilda. But it was nice to hear. I haven't heard you for a long time. And you said you just can't get in. I'm happy you did tonight. I've been very truthful and have spoken to many of my comrades in Labour. Reads this email. I have told them in no uncertain terms that I cannot vote for the Labour Party as long as Dwyer Astafan and Sam Condor remain as hangers-on to the Labour Party. And my friends are telling me, let us forget that for now. They fully agree with me. They say, but their votes are important for now. And after Labour win, we could deal with them. I said no. That is sheer hypocrisy, and I am not in that. How could Labour trust Dwyer and Sam ever again, especially Dwyer? Reads this email. And my straight talk family, those are the emails for tonight. I trust I had dealt with all the emails. And as we wind down tonight's programming, I'll perhaps take one more call. I do have time for one more call, and we will wrap tonight. But tonight, if you join me late, I introduced the topic Not Fit for Purpose on Monday, part 1. I reflected on the 5 years of my experience in the cabinet of the first team unity government. So I now know, my Straight Talk family, I'll take this call. Caller, you live. Hello, caller, you live. I think I've lost that caller just now. Forgive me for that, my Straight Talk family. I do believe I lost that caller just now. But as I was saying, when I introduced the topic, Not Fit for Purpose, I reflected on the 5 years of my experience in the cabinet of the first team unity administration. So I know when I spoke from a position of authority. With respect to the last 22 months, or as of 2020, I did my research and analysis from outside of the cabinet, but I made certain that each time I came forth, I provided the evidence. My research and analysis brought me to the conclusion that what the people referred to as the Gang of Six was a grand experiment with Sean Richards, Mark Brantley, Lindsey Grant, Jonell Powell, Alexis Jeffords, and Eric Evelyn. That experiment failed us in its goal of providing protection against the abuse of power and the misuse of the people's money. If you examine all the candidates of the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement in particular, who have brought us to this moment in time and have forced an election upon us 3 years before it's constitutionally due. Are they fit? Are they good enough to lead this federation? I heard from you and you said no. When we elected them, the purpose was, the aim or objective of the people in this country was intended to achieve a better standard of living, peace, safety, and security, and all the things that would bring progress for all through economic growth in St. Kitts and Nevis. We voted for a government with men and women that were fit for purpose, we thought. Plainly put, we voted for candidates that we thought were good enough to do the job that they were elected to do. But as we go to the polls, sooner rather than later, I want to implore you that as voters we must think like consumers. And there is a consumer protection law or legislation in St. Kitts that protects us as buyers and provides us a guarantee that if an item is not fit for purpose, we are entitled to a refund or we are entitled to replacement. The point is, just like a consumer item, then the government we elect must meet our expectations. Elected representatives must meet the required standards. They must be of sufficient quality, my Straight Talk family, and be good enough representatives of all the people. I'm not afraid to say that the Gang of Six, my Straight Talk family, have failed us. They have failed all of us. The Gang of Six are not fit for purpose. Look how calm and peaceful the country is without them. Don't you find the country calm and peaceful without the Gang of Six? A pity we couldn't have this calm and peacefulness for the next 3 years. But not. Don't mind that. We are going back to the polls. And we can say, even before we go to the polls, that Mark Brantley is not fit for being premier. He has never balanced a budget in Nevis. How can he balance a federal budget? As a matter of fact, his own people from Nevis said this about Mark Brantley. He said this about Mark Brantley, and we must listen carefully because these people know what they are saying.
Heard him ranting that Hanley's Road, he's from Hanley's Road, and Hanley's Road did not produce any kunumono. And then he moved into Brownhill, and Brownhill didn't have any kunumono. Listen, Hanley's Road produced one kunumono, and that is Mark Brantley. There is one kunumono that lives in who lived in Brownhill and moved out of Brownhill. It has to be Mark Brantley. He is making noise about fair share for Nevis. He's bragging and beating his chest that 80% or some high percentage of what was written in the Charleston Accord was of his making. You sit down with Timothy Harris, draft up an agreement, you said, for fair share for Nevis. You got up from the table and then sat at the next table and said to the man, listen, give me $30 million. You throw fair share out through the door. He gave you $30 million. You turn around and you sit again with him and say, after arguing about fair share, I'm not getting enough. Give me $45 million. He gave you $45 million. Then you get up from the table and start to argue again. He did not give me enough. Give me $66 million. He gave you $66 million. And then you get up from the table and start to argue that he not give you enough. You have to be a kunumono.
And that's the views of many divisions. Former Deputy Prime Minister Michael Oliver Powell aptly described Mark Brantley, my straight talk family, when he said this.
He came on one of his broadcasts. Well, if you are, and he had his phone in his hand, and he said, if you are looking at me, you would notice I have my phone, and the reason why I have my phone is because we have given the Prime Minister a deadline up to midnight. I said, oh, my father. I said, look at that educated idiot. Where he get the authority from to talk about he gave Prime Minister a deadline. My beloved brethren, educated idiot. As a lawyer, he must know the Constitution doesn't give him or anybody else any authority to give the Prime Minister any deadline. He must know that.
My straight dog family, that was one of the political renegades as described by an earlier caller. The other political renegade is Sean Richards, who is definitely not fit, not material for prime ministership. First, Sean does not respect the rule of law. He does not, my straight dog family.
The last thing I was told is that the report has been altered and my name has been removed from the report. Again, I left it like that. I left it like that. About a week later, I was at a certain establishment, and while sitting down there, someone came to me and said to me, well, how you ain't tell me you were at last lap when this thing happened? I said I didn't consider it important because I ain't know what happened at last lap. All I know something happened at last lap. I don't know what happened there. I said, but wait. But you got to be my name in this report still. So the next day, I went to cabinet and I complained about it again because I said I was told that my name has been removed from the report. But based on reliable information, my name still included in the police report. And I took a decision there and then that until this matter is cleared up, I am not coming back to any cabinet meeting. Because if nobody can stand up for my name, I can stand up for my name myself.
And I play that for my good friend in Toronto, Canada. He didn't call back to apologize as he committed. But he was threatened for arrest. But if that is bad, the man can't handle little SKELEC. How can he handle a country's finance? He's plundered the resources of the Urban Development Corporation. He held up a Bible, said he didn't know about the hut. But the hut is still being constructed. I wonder if any money was paid since that $102,000 were paid. But Straight Talk will investigate that. And the new minister with responsibility for the Urban Development Corporation must investigate what's going on down there at the UDC and come back to the country and tell the country what is the time of day with the people's money. But worst of all, he has plundered the resources and raped the resources of this SKELEC company, the St. Kitts Electricity Company. We almost got to shut down, and take this seriously, my family. We almost got a blackout in this country because SKELEC was down to a 3-day supply of fuel to run its generation plants. Thank God, Prime Minister Harris fired him and hired his PAM colleague Eugene Hamilton, who had to intervene and beg some money from the Treasury.
The 16th of May, 2022. The Team Unity Cabinet of Ministers met on Monday, May 16, 2022, under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. The Cabinet received updates from ministers regarding their new portfolio assignments. The chairman, along with another board member of SKELEC, presented to the Cabinet on the difficult financial situation of the corporation. The corporation is now seeking a subvention from government for its operations.
Difficult financial situation at the corporation, at SKELEC. The corporation is now seeking a subvention. That was the report from the post-cabinet briefing. SKELEC is so broke, they have gone to the government to borrow. I don't believe they expect the government to grant them because they'll have to pay back the government, the people's money. Borrowed $20 million from the public purse. That is something we must investigate. And that, we must agree, Sean Richards is not fit for public service was yet to be Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my story for tonight, and I am not going to change it, as my time is done and I've got to run. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank all my listeners. I want to thank those on social media, YouTube, Straight Talk, and of course on ZIZ Radio. I want to thank the callers, even those who could not get in. Try again next time. I want to thank all those who sent emails. Remember, all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's spare, I will be with you on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until we connect then on Monday, have yourselves, my Straight Talk family, a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. Have fun. Go to church. Praise the Lord. But remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect on Monday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family.